the raw data that's in certain sections like the LD50, the pH, and things like that. So, it's not easy to understand a safety data sheet.
Absolutely. Great. And related to that, in the past we've used and currently still do certain rating systems such as the NFPA and HMIS, which uses 0 to 4 in their system, with 0 being no hazard. In GHS, it goes the opposite way, going from 5 to 1, with 5 being no hazard. Care to comment on confusion there?
Okay, NFPA, National Fire Protection Association, they are protecting firefighters. And back, I think it was even in the 50s, I know it was in the 60s, they came up with the red, blue, yellow diamond system with a white diamond at the bottom for special hazards. And 0 in the United States meant no big deal. Okay, we can deal with that. 4 would be high. And even in biosafety, you have biosafety levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 being lower hazard than 4. So for decades, the United States knew about 0 not a hazard, 4 significant hazard. HIMAS, Hazardous Materials Identification System, was created by the National Coatings Association. It used to be called National Paint Association when it was developed. And they were very similar in the two rating systems. The one slight difference was the health hazard is firefighters cared about what degradation products were when something was on fire. HIMAS was under normal circumstances. So for the most part, they overlap. Now the white might say no water in the NFPA system. Firefighters like their hoses in water. Okay. The white section in the HIMAS system was more a custom, especially for the paint industry. What kind of personal protective equipment do you need? And they gave these letters A through L, and then you could customize it. And these were what we've known for ages. Now we go to the GHS. They don't even use 0. It's 5 to 1. Okay? And we train people to look at labels 0 to 4. GHS doesn't even require the hazard category to be on the label. So now I look at a safety data sheet and I see a hazard category, and it's not only reversed, it's not even the same numbers. How do you explain this to people? And I do webinars and for environmental health and safety people and ask surveys, what's the difference? And it amazes me how many people think that GHS is 4 to 0. And they don't even, they know it's reversed. They just don't know the
Yeah.
numbers. So if
Right.
I can't get safety people to know, how am I going to get other people to know? And just a little bit of history on that, and you know this better than most. People think that the the GHS didn't like the United States and it was just purely about safety data sheets. It's actually much larger than that. And it was with the United Nations. The United States just chose not to participate until later on. And by then, they started using what Europe or transportation used, where low number meant high hazard. And even in Department of Transportation, you'll see that that is much more aligned with the GHS and always has been than something like safety data sheets. So there is a history of why it was that way. And the US was just too late to put any input in to say, we go 0 to 4 while you guys go 5 to 1.
Great. Great. Yeah. And I think that continues to be taught, and I agree. Firefighters still live by that in what they do in their response. They're always looking for that diamond on
Yeah.
the warehouse wall.
And talking to the NFPA, they said, look, we created this for firefighters. People started using it for labeling packages. We're not changing ours. This is what firefighters know. And that's why they didn't
Right.
change. When the National Fire Protection Association chose not to change, the National Coatings Association, I think, followed suit. However, they did change their yellow into, from reactivity to physical hazard, I believe is what the
Mm.
term was. I always have to look that one up.